Hello, everyone. Thank you so much. This is like Old Home Week. You know, how many, well, I won't go into how many drinks we've all had together or anything like that, but welcome. Thank you so much for being here on this auspicious occasion and with perfect Seattle weather. So, yes. I'm Michele Hasson, and I have the honor of chairing the AMP, the AIDS Memorial Pathway. This street right here, shortly to be officially renamed, will connect the AMP to Cal Anderson Park, over there, and the Link Light Rail Station, back there. The project that Tom Rasmussen first proposed is community-driven and funded. It will use public art to create a physical space for remembrance and reflection, over there. Utilize technology to share stories about the epidemic and the diverse community responses to the crisis, and provide a call to action to end HIV, AIDS, discrimination, and stigma. About 12 months from now, actually, it's about 11 months from now, the AMP will be a reality. We will be using the power of storytelling, much like the woman that we honor today, who created a space where all stories were welcome. Barbara Bailey's life was a story in itself, and today you will hear from Katie Carter, CEO of the Pride Foundation, and Thatcher Bailey, Barbara's brother, to share some reflections before our mayor, Jenny Durkan, officially unveils the new street's name. Katie, where are you?
Second behind you.
Yeah, oh, it's right here.
I've got your back. Thank you. Hi, everybody. I am so grateful to be able to be here with all of you today and honor Barbara's life and her work with all of you, and the absolutely incredible legacy that she's offered to our community. Honoring this space on this street feels so appropriate because we know that the space that Barbara created for people at Bailey Coy Bookstore was life-changing. My partner was sharing with me last night that when he was a queer youth growing up in Seattle, he lived in Federal Way, that he would take a 2-hour bus ride almost every week to come to Bailey Coy Bookstore. There was a Barnes & Noble in Federal Way where if he scoured the shelves, he could maybe find one book that was about LGBTQ people, and then he would have to hide it in another book out of the fear and shame that he had in that space. But here he found LGBTQ books displayed proudly and prominently on her shelves. He could read them openly and without fear, and he had a safe space to explore who he was. The space also helped him find himself, and it helped him find community and other queer and trans people just like him. This is just one story of what this space that she created for people meant, and I'm sure that many of you have your own stories, and that the ripple effects of what she created in this space have been profound. Barbara knew how important it was to create spaces where we can be who we are, and that they are literally life-saving. She was integral to the creation of Pride Foundation, which was founded with exactly this purpose: to create more spaces and places across the Northwest where LGBTQ people could be who they are, whether that is in Bozeman, Montana, or Anchorage, Alaska, or Federal Way, or right here on Capitol Hill. In fact, Pride Foundation exists out of the sheer will and determination of Barbara and many other people at that time who knew that we needed this kind of organization, that we needed an LGBTQ community foundation for our community. Things were so different back then. You could get fired. Marriage wasn't even a possibility or a dream that we could have. And many other people at that time knew that discrimination and violence were commonplace. While unfortunately many of these things are still true today, the progress that has been made is because of the incredible dedication of people like Barbara, who have created a literally whole new world of possibilities. It was a risk to do that work back then, to start the projects that she started with so many of you. But she took those risks and she took them with gusto, and she set the bar higher for all of us. One of the things that I've consistently heard people share about her is the incredible conviction she carried in everything she did. The question was, if not us, then who? She clearly lived with a profound sense of responsibility and urged a similar sense of caring for one another with everyone who came into her life. People have shared with me that it was always less a question of, do you want to get involved with this project? And more a statement of, you need to be a part of this. You will make an investment. I have a role for you, and please help me address these invitations. We need more people like her in this world, reminding us that we have a profound responsibility to take care of one another, to our community, and to make the world a better place for everyone. Her legacy of incredible care for her community will live on through her scholarship fund, which will continue to encourage leaders in our community. It was established in 2003 and has given away more than $20,000 to 16 student leaders. After she passed, almost immediately, we saw an outpouring of support for the fund in her honor without even having to offer it up. People knew exactly what they should do. Clearly, those close to her knew that she would want her life to be honored by supporting more leaders to move this work forward, by creating more spaces where we could be ourselves, and by finding more ways every single day to care for one another. I want to thank Barbara deeply and from the bottom of my heart on behalf of Pride Foundation for all that she made possible, for modeling what true love of humanity looks like, and for inspiring us all to not only be who we are, but to do every single thing that we possibly can. Thank you.
Katie, thank you. Words to remember, and thank the Pride Foundation for all of their support. A person who has maybe more reflections than most is next, and that's Thatcher Bailey, who will talk a little bit about his sister Barbara. And I also wanted to I'm looking right at Bruce Bailey too, or Barbara's other brother. So please welcome Thatcher Bailey.
Hi everyone, I want to talk a little louder, make sure everyone can hear. You got me going here. So today, I am as proud as I have ever been to be Barbara Bailey's little brother. And on behalf of my family, Bruce, Heidi, Catherine, Marianne Gay, Barbara's Port Townsend family, particularly Clara and Thatcher, who are here with us today. I want to thank you all for coming out this afternoon for this first gathering on East Barbara Bailey Way. As Katie said, everyone loved Bailey Coy Books. We all still wish it was here. It was, of course, a most excellent bookstore, and huge kudos to Michael Coy and Michael Wells and all the other former staff who were here to make that happen. Great bookstore, and that's one of the reasons we wish it were here. But again, following on Katie, I can't count the number of people who've come up to me over the last 11 months to offer their condolences, and after saying to me, so sorry for your loss, asking me to listen to them talk about their sense of loss. They told me about themselves, their feelings around the bookstore, how it was such an important place for them, much more than a bookstore. A refuge, a place that helped them come to grips with who they were, a place where they found community. The whole store was like one big flashing welcome sign. And that was Barb in everything that she did. She gathered people around. With that megawatt smile, she made us all feel loved, seen, and respected. And it was such a huge deal back in the day, so inspiring, that Barb was this big-hearted, larger-than-life, and completely fabulous lesbian and a successful businesswoman, fearless and full of joy. And she made everything fun for her staff, for the boards she served on, at all the fundraisers she hosted, at those marches in Washington and in Seattle that were such game changers for the LGBTQ plus community and for all of her friends, for all of us here today. Barb was the world to me. Consciously or unconsciously, every move I have made in my life has always been guided by the question, what would Barbara do? That is still and always will be true. It's just now I can't pick up the phone and ask her if I'm getting it right. So we're all on our own now, yet here we are together. Barb would have loved this honor, for sure, but what would have made her happiest is seeing us all here together today. East Barbara Bailey Way is a festival street, so huge shout out to Bree Guykill and the Capitol Hill Champions for spearheading that transformation. It will be a new home for the Broadway Farmers Market. It connects this new public plaza just over there with lots of retail and more residents and the beloved Cal Anderson Park there. And as Michele said, Age Memorial Pathway will wind all the way through it. In short, we're here to celebrate the opening of another place where we can all find and build community. And what would Barbara do? Let's light this place up. Let's make sure her spirit of welcome is inscribed here as it is in our hearts. And for sure, let's make it fun. I want to give a big shout out to Anthony Derrick and Dominique Stevens from the Mayor's office. They have taken such care and worked so hard to make this naming happen, and in just the right way. And of course, to Mayor Durkan, thank you from all of us. A few months ago, the mayor sent me a photograph of her desk at work. At the corner was a picture of my sister, and on that picture was a stone with a word inscribed on it, courage. It took courage for the mayor to run for the office, and every day she makes decisions that require extraordinary fortitude. I love thinking that my sister gives her a little extra boost of inspiration when she needs it. And I also love that the mayor gets a little time off to celebrate a street opening. There are some fun parts to this job. So let's show our gratitude to Mayor Durkan and make her feel especially welcome today.
I hate going after one of the Baileys, can I just say? Can I say good afternoon? Say good afternoon for Barbara. That's right. So thank you, Michele. I want to thank you for emceeing this event and for everything you've done in this space. Thank you for being here. Barbara believed in speaking out. Now that you have, let's talk about Barbara. So what a great place to remember Barbara Bailey. We know the AIDS Memorial Pathway is such an exciting opportunity to remind our city of the struggles we had before, the people we lost, and how we came together as a community. I also want to thank Katie Carter for her leadership at the Pride Foundation. It has done so much for our community and was such a tough mantle to take up, but she's done it. And of course, Thatcher. You know, if you weren't Barbara's little brother, we'd be naming 20 streets after you. So we really want to thank you for everything you've done. And we're here today to recognize Barbara Bailey's contributions in her life. I don't think I know anybody who was as dedicated to Seattle as Barbara Bailey. She was born and raised here. She loved this city. She poured herself into making it a better city. Now, we all know Barb. She was relentless in everything she did. Sometimes it was her most annoying and her most lovable trait. She just couldn't let go. But her commitment lifted so many of us up. You know, as an early pioneer in LGBTQ in Seattle, her bookstore, both of them were such meccas for so many of us. And I can remember one of the first times I went into Barbara's bookstore and I had met her. I was just coming out. And in typical Barb fashion, it never occurred to her that everybody wasn't just out and loud and proud. So here I am kind of coming in the door to see what's what. It's like, Jenny Durkan. And I was like, hi, Barbara. But it was such a safe, welcoming space for everybody to question, to be there, whether you were gay and lesbian or just wondering whether you had friends or family. And it wasn't just, quote, our books. It was our books next to the bestsellers in the New York Times. Barbara knew everybody in the book world. And Thatcher says, what would Barbara do? Well, she'd usually tell you. And she had an opinion on everything and was ready to share it, but was also ready to listen. I think it was one of the great traits of Barbara. While she was relentless, the thing she loved most was just generating that love and care and dialogue among her friends. She championed civil rights work here in the city. During the AIDS crisis, she was a champion for those who were losing those they loved and those who became sick, and she did it with such energy and dedication until 9 p.m. And then we know it was all lights out. She hosted countless fundraisers and causes that were close to her heart. There was no job too big or too small for Barbara Bailey. She did it all, from giving the fundraising speeches to opening her door to licking envelopes to knocking on doors to just being who she was. She was one of the best things to open up hearts and minds. Through her life, she accomplished so much, but her relentlessness showed itself most for the people she cared and loved. If you were in Barbara Bailey's circle, you felt warmth. And every single one of us thought we were her favorite. I was. Thatcher was. Bruce was. You name it, we all felt that sense. She loved public good and was ready to get in and fight for it. Her mark on this city and on the Capitol Hill can't be overstated. This was her part of town. Her bookstore was here. She went to school here. She knew everybody up here. And she would love this spot, the gathering spot for Capitol Hill, where people come and go, on the road to Cal Anderson Park, right in the middle of the A's Memorial Walk, where things were happening, a gathering spot for farmers markets and everything to keep people vibrant. The city today and the city of the future, and Barbara Bailey's right in the heart of it. It's exactly where she deserves to be. I can't say enough about how happy I am to see all the faces I see here today, because I know how much each one of us love Barbara Bailey. And today we're going to be able to take a small step to say, yep, Barb, you're right in the middle of it for the rest of the time in Seattle. So let's do it. Let's unveil Barb Street. Now, let's see if I pull this down and hit anybody. Come on, Thatcher. Bruce, come on, help me up here. Marianne, where's Marianne?
Marianne's sick.
She's sick?
Yeah.
All right. Come on, Bruce.
Oh.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Hey! Well done.
That is awesome.
A street's named after a new founder of Seattle in its ways.